Ladies and gentlemen, Andy here. I'm here with my girlfriend Imogen, and I can't see jack shit, and
Hi.
I'm not sure why. We are going to talk about today whether or not success is something that you're born into.
Mm-hmm.
We also might cover a little bit of fashion, as you can see today, I'm very fashionable. But first, let's cover the topic at hand. Is success something that you are born into? Yes or no, Imogen? Over to you. Have both microphones over to you.
It's not that. Is that going to create an awful
It's
echo?
going to create an echo, yes.
Well, it's not that simple of a question. It's
There
not
you
like
go, ladies
yes or
and
no.
gentlemen. You heard it first. It is not that simple. Let's dive straight into it. So the question comes up. It's sort of one of those circle jerk questions, like jerking yourself off questions. But we want to cover it because there are lots of people in the world, and I sometimes will get comments on this or emails where people are sort of frustrated by the fact that we make self-improvement seem like it is something that is accessible to everyone. Now, any of you that have achieved any modicum of success or started working towards goals or achieved big goals, you will all agree, yeah, I'm not that special. In fact, I'm a fucking train wreck, but I achieve these things by just taking some action. And so you understand the concept that, you know, if I'm not special and I can do this, fuck, man, maybe anyone can do this shit. They just have to do the same steps that I had to do, and they have to overcome their insecurities and their hurdles, but they'll do that by just taking action. But people who are sitting on the sidelines and haven't achieved goals don't realize that, and they feel like, I can't do this.
And I think often when you get comments that say like, well, it's easy for you to say you've had X, Y, and Z advantage. Quite often people are talking about like they live in an area it's harder to grow up there. Maybe they're in somewhere they grew up in a messy household. They're a certain race or ethnicity. They've come from a certain religious background. Like they have not grown up in a good financial situation. And I think often people like to say, well, it's easy for you to say.
Yep.
And there is definitely some truth to that. Like obviously, if you're born into certain situations, it is going to be easier for you to make progress. But it also doesn't mean that people in less advantageous upbringings can't also be successful.
Yeah, and further along, I'll make a separate point on that. When you look at other people, maybe people that have had a little bit more success than you or a little further on this journey of self-improvement than you are, when you feel bitterness or resentment or jealousy, all you're doing is handing over your power to that person. You are making them responsible for how you feel. You're saying, I feel jealous and bitter and angry, and that's your fucking fault. It's your fault for being successful. It's the rich are bad. Anyone who has money is bad. Anyone who has a lot of sex is bad. You're just enabling them to have power over you. And they don't even want power over you. They don't fucking know you.
Yeah.
Like, why will they ever know you? But you're taking away the agency from yourself, and you're saying, I'm going to let someone else be responsible for my happiness. And so I would sort of zoom out here a little bit, and the discussion we're going to have, I'll tell you the spoiler, we are ultimately going to, at the end of this podcast, say it doesn't fucking matter if success is something you're born into or not. We don't care if it's luck or hard work. We don't care if some people are destined to succeed and other people are destined to be failures. Like, the discussion doesn't even matter. Shut the fuck up and take some action. If you struggle with that, that's okay. Like, just take a baby step, a tiny little step. Everyone is capable of taking one tiny little baby step and then just iterating on that and continuing to do that. But the discussion is interesting because it is that discussion between, are some people just lucky or is it hard work? And it doesn't really matter which one it is. It really fucking doesn't matter. If you're someone that believes, no, some people are just born lucky. They're just born successful. And maybe you look at me or you look at anyone else that you maybe take advice from or whose YouTube channel or whatever you follow. You might look at them and say, oh, well, it's just because, like you said, they were born into a good family, or his mummy and daddy love him very much, or he's white, or he's tall, or he's this, or whatever, sort of funny little excuse you can come up with for why someone else has done something that you haven't. You can do that. But how do you feel when you do that? You don't feel empowered. Does that serve you? At the end of the day, I'm not here for I'm not here to talk to the mass population. I'm not here to talk about generalities. I'm here to talk to you, the individual, you, the one person right now listening to this. And yes, 500 or 1,000 people might listen to this podcast, but that's 500 times one person or 1,000 times one person. I'm speaking to each of you individually, and we only care about each individual person. I don't give a fuck about the masses. I care about you, the person listening. Does it serve you to believe that some people are just lucky? Does that empower you to be successful? Does that empower you and make you fired up to get off your ass off the couch and go take some action? No, not even remotely. It disempowers you.
Yeah, and even more so, I think people often say, like, it's not even just, like, my situation. It's just, I'm destined to not be a successful person.
I don't deserve success.
I'm not somebody that gets that thing that's for other people. And there's just some magic. Everyone, when they're born, is just, like, either blessed or not with some
it's like preordained
mark.
by the universe.
And
if you're... Sorry, you finish and then I'll say my point.
And I think when you get into that style of thinking with goals, obviously, as we've spoken about many times, you make that reality happen. Like, if you tell yourself, I'm not somebody that's ever going to be successful, you will spend the rest of your life creating evidence so that that is true.
And if you believe you're destined to fail, like you don't believe that you deserve success, or you don't believe you're born into success, like you personally, you don't think that you are meant to have success, why would you try? Like why the fuck would you try something that you already think is going to fail? That would be stupid. Like, we would call that stupid. Like, am I right now going to jump off a cliff right now and hope that I can fly? No, because I don't 100% know, but I 99.99999% know that I can't fly without any sort of modification to my body. And so I'm not going to jump off a cliff because, like, why the fuck would I do that? And so if you don't believe that you're going to be successful, or that you're allowed to be successful, or that you could be successful, you won't try it. Because that'd be stupid. It'd be like jumping off a cliff without a parachute or without a pair of wings. Further on this point, if you believe that some people are destined to be successful, like they're just born as the fucking hero of the world or something, like they're the chosen one. If you just believe that, and you believe the corollary of that, which is that some people aren't destined for success. If you're religious, as in if you believe in a higher power or a god or a creationist, which, you know, lots of you do, you're basically saying that God's a fucking cunt. And that God just destined some people for fucking loserdom, and there's nothing they can do to change that. That sounds like hell. What did you do to deserve that? Like, what big sin did you do in your life to deserve that? Nothing. And so that's just not, that doesn't gel with any of you that are religious. It literally goes against your own religion, which is the vast majority of religions have as their underlining, God is love. Like, God is forgiveness, God is love. Like, that's kind of the point. If you're not religious, and you don't believe in a higher power, and you think this is all just like random chaos and random variables, and, you know, we just happen to, just all the fucking molecules are bumping together and this all just played out randomly, which, fine, if that's what you believe, and I don't really have an opinion either way, I can't fucking know, but if that's what you believe, can't you just skew the variables in your favor? Like, if you literally just think this is all fucking random chance, can't you just cheat and stack the deck of cards? Can't you go, fuck, well, what if I did go for a walk for 3 hours a day? Would I lose weight? Would that be stacking the variables in my favor? Fuck, could I just like start improving myself, and maybe it takes 3 years? Like, could I just do that? If I'm short, could I just wear like height increasing shoes or date younger women? If I'm ugly, could I get cosmetic surgery? Could I just work for the next 3 years, work 2 jobs, save up like $100,000 and fix my fucking ugly face? Like, can I stack the variables in my favor? So no matter which one of those camps you fall under, religious or you think this is all just random variables, you have the fucking power to change either, unless you think the third option, which is like, no, I'm religious, but I just think God's a cunt. Okay, doesn't that get you angry? And don't you want to like spite God for just preordaining you as a fucking loser? Don't you want to be like, no, you made a mistake, bitch. Like, fuck you. Like, I'm gonna rise above that shit. And in the case of that, maybe God was fucking testing you. Maybe God wants you to be a fucking winner. But your dumbass or your lazy ass is just sitting there going like, no, I'm a loser. And God's like, no, come on, like fucking hell. Like, fire yourself up. You've got this Andy guy just yelling at you. You've got David Goggins screaming at you. You've got all these motivational people. You've got all these Instagram influencers. You know, all these people saying like, you can do it too. Like, fucking listen to them. Come on. Like, I keep sending you these like life rafts or these life rafts to save your life, and you're just like ignoring them all. Fucking listen.
Yeah, and I think when we say success, a lot of what we're talking about is just self-improvement that pays off. Like self-improvement, and then you actually get the goal that you're looking for. And I think when you break it down, like when you stop calling it success, like preordained success, and actually turn it into self-improvement.
Into action,
Yeah, you distill it down into the actual steps that it takes, and then realize that any human being can take steps to better their
Yes.
circumstance.
And if you say, no, I can't, it's like that's just because you're overwhelming yourself with the steps. So if you're 200 pounds overweight, like you're carrying 200 pounds extra and you say, I can't do this, I can't fucking lose 200 pounds. Okay, can you lose half a pound? Can you humble yourself enough to lose half a pound? Yes. Eat 5 less Twinkies a day. Literally just that. If you're that overweight, God, go for a 10-minute fucking walk and you will burn 3,000 calories because your big fucking body is going to be like, Jesus Christ, this is like the most we've moved. And you'll probably be dead exhausted afterwards, but congratulations. Do that once a week, you lose half a pound. Wait long enough, and yes, you're going to have to humble yourself. That is 400 weeks, which is like 9 years. And I promise, I swear to God, it doesn't take 9 fucking years. But just doing that, a fucking little 10-minute walk every day, over 8 years, you would lose all the weight and you'd be fucking lean. I promise you it won't take that long, but like that's the lowest. And if you say I can't do that, okay, can I eat 1 less Twinkie a day? And that's at least building that habit. And then maybe in future I'll have the courage to eat 2 less Twinkies a day. And then a couple months after that, I can eat 3 less. Can I just start the process? There is always something small you can do. If you're ultra fucking depressed and suicidal, can I reach out to one friend? If you don't have a friend, can I call a fucking lifeline and say, hey, I want to fucking off myself today. I want to kill myself. That's a huge act of bravery and courage. There was always something that everyone can do. Everyone, no matter what. And back on the point that you made before, like a lot of people will have these doubts and say, I don't deserve success. You know, it's not me. What the fuck do you think I have felt this entire journey, my entire life? I have felt like I don't deserve this. I did an article on my website called I Am Always Full of Doubt. And I wrote that article like 2 years ago. It is still so unbelievably relevant today. How many millions of times do I say to you, Imogen, I don't think I can do this. I'm not good enough for this. I don't deserve this. I feel like a fraud. I said this to you like 2 days ago. I'm like, I feel like a fucking fraud with my coaching. I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like I change people's lives enough. Like,
Yeah, at least a couple of times a week we will talk through your doubts or insecurities about the business, about any sorts of things, really, like body, money.
You're all the same. You tell me about yours all the time. And it's not about feeling like you deserve success. In other words, it's not about feeling like you were born into success or like, I deserve it, I can do it, like I'm a winner, I deserve to do this. No, I've never felt like, I feel like it logically, and I feel like it when I achieve goals and shit. But a better way of phrasing it is at the start of every goal that I work on, and for the first sometimes couple of years, I don't feel like I deserve it. I don't. But I take action anyway. And so I love what you said before. It's not so much about success, it's about, did you take action? It's not, do I deserve success, or am I going to win? Am I going to make it? None of this shit. It's like, no. Just humble yourself enough to focus on the daily actions. Did I do one little tiny baby step today? That's all that fucking matters. Repeat that over the next 100 days. And Alex Hormozi, one of the guys that I look up to, has this great fucking like idea that if you just take action for 100 minutes a day, and I'll make it even easier than that, take action for 5 minutes a day, 100 days in a row, massive things start to happen. Keep repeating that process, and that's all we've ever done. At this point, it's just 9 years of me doing a little bit every day. I don't even do a lot every day, do I?
Yeah, we can both talk about our personal stories a little bit, because neither of us started out from great positions when it comes to success or self-improvement. Like, there was a period in both of our lives where we weren't doing much. We were very average, maybe even below average in some respects, and not getting much out of life, like going through the day-to-day, waking up, doing unhelpful bullshit that didn't really progress us anyway, if anything moved us backwards, and kind of just rinsed and repeated that for years.
Yeah, I was suicidal and depressed for 9 years. I wanted to fucking kill myself for 9 years. Yeah.
And all it took to pull ourselves out of that and have a really happy, filling relationship and make money and not work jobs and have lives that we really love. Like, all of that really took was getting up and deciding to make better decisions each day, taking a little bit of actions towards the goals that we wanted and making it happen. And yes, we could write big lists of reasons why we've had help, like why it's been easier for us than it might be for other people. And we could also write an equally as long list for reasons why it's been harder for us.
Why we've played on hard mode.
Yeah. And it doesn't, those lists ultimately don't fucking matter. You're dealt the hand you're dealt, and all you can do is control the actions that you do and get up and do every single day.
Yeah, Voltaire, who was a really interesting philosopher, has a quote which I'll just paraphrase, something like, Every man is dealt a certain deck of cards in his life, and his only job is to play that hand with all that he's got. So don't bitch and moan about like, oh, it's not fair. I'm short. It's easier for this guy because he's tall. Or, man, it's not fair. You know, my parents abused me and I went through sexual trauma. You went through fucking sexual trauma. We have talked about that. You know, I was suicidal for 9 years. Stop and pause and think about that. 9 years, maybe it was 8 years, 8 or 9 years, where I wanted to kill myself. And you might say, well, if you really wanted to kill yourself, how come you didn't? Because I literally hated myself so much that I was like, I don't deserve an end to this suffering. And so as punishment, I didn't follow through with it. There were like hundreds of times I held the knife to my wrist and I was like, you don't even fucking deserve this, you fucking loser. Like, you shouldn't do this. Like, I know you want to do this, but you're not good enough for this. Like, literally, I was like, I'm not good enough to kill myself. Because I was like, I'm such a piece of shit that I have to stay here on this earth until 30. I told myself I could kill myself when I was 30, but I had to stay till 30 to torture myself. That's how much I hated myself. Think about that for a second. Think about all the shit that you went through. Sexual trauma, abuse, hating yourself, bulimia, drinking alcohol every day, you know, sticking your fingers down your throat to make yourself throw up and then just binge eating again and repeating that hundreds of times. Like, we both fucking hated ourselves. And we could sit here, like you said, and tell a story and say, you know, we weren't destined for success. And sometimes I do tell that story. I tell it as a motivational tale. I tell it as like, yeah, I don't know if I'm meant to have success. I don't know if I'm meant to be a winner. There's a reason that my website is like, kill, you're in a loser. I think I've often carried around this idea that like, and it serves me, that's why I keep it. I'm a loser. I don't give a fuck. I just take the action anyway. And so I'll look at other people, and you hear me do this all the time, where I'll look at people and I'll be like, man, this guy's so fucking cool. He's like better than me. Like Alex Hormozzi is my current little boy crush, where I'm looking at him and I'm like, man, this guy's like so buff. Like he's a power couple with his wife. Like look how far ahead they are than us. Man, everyone respects him. He's got 1 million and something subscribers, and she has like 300,000 subscribers. Like, man, they're so fucking cool. Like I can't match them. And I will tell these stories of how I'm not as good as the other people and blah, blah, blah. The difference is I then tell an extra little bit, which I think some of you are missing. I go, okay, let me just like sneak under the radar and like copy what he's done. And hopefully no one notices that I'm a loser who's not meant to be there. And hopefully I can just kind of do like maybe 20%, maybe 50% of what he's done. I'd be happy with 10% of what he's done. Let me just like sneak under there and just, I'll sneak behind into the VIP backstage pass area where I'm meant to have a fucking VIP little backstage ticket, but I don't. But hopefully no one fucking notices. I feel like I have done this for the last like 8 years of everything I've achieved, all the crazy shit that I've achieved. I feel like I wasn't meant to. Like I snuck into that little fucking members only area, but because I was there taking action, nobody kicked me out. I even had this discussion with, I'm in a Telegram group of guys that are just absolute fucking winners, right? They're making like 100, 200K a month. Like they're just absolutely crushing it. These dudes look amazing. Some of them have like god tier bodies. They have sex with like more attractive women than I usually have sex with. They're just really fucking killing it in life. And I've been in that group for like 3 or 4 years. And I remember maybe like a year or two ago, I said, guys, I'm really curious. Like I understand why I'm here now. Because, you know, like now I can have months where I earn 50K a month. I can, you know, I'm having threesomes. Like we've built this relationship for the last 5 years and we're happy with it. Like I understand why I'm in the group now. But why the fuck did you let me in the group in the first place? And why the fuck did you not kick me out in the first year or two when I was an alcoholic who was drinking every fucking day? I was looking at porn every day. I was making like $500 a month, even though we needed like 3 or 4 grand a month to pay all the bills and stuff. Like, why the fuck did you leave me in the group? And a couple of them responded and said, bro, we didn't give a fuck like where you're at. We didn't give a fuck if you deserve success or not. You were taking action, bro. That's what we respect. Because every time we told you to do something, you'd shut your fucking mouth and do it and then come back and say, hey, I did that. What's next? Because you didn't quit. Because you were doing the work. Bro, you deserve to be there because you were doing the work. It's got nothing to do with how successful you are at that point in time. It's like, are you doing the work? Are you taking the steps? I say the same thing. I respect the living shit out of someone who takes action, right? If there's any of you in the comments, you'll see from the replies that I give, but any of you who are in the comments or you sign up for my coaching program, we have plenty of people like this that sign up for coaching, where it's like they're a complete virgin, they live at home with mommy and daddy, they don't have much money and they've had to take a payment plan to even be in the coaching program, or they've had to save up and take a bank loan or a credit card or something like that. And by all metrics, they don't have any success whatsoever. but holy shit, are they taking action? And if I tell them to do something, they fucking do it. I respect that person infinitely more than the billionaire who's massively successful, or maybe the millionaire who's massively successful, but he doesn't really take any action and he kind of just inherited the wealth. And like a lot of people would look at that person, or the Instagram influencer, like the ultra hot woman. And obviously I don't know their full story, so I try not to judge, but like they haven't earned my respect just because they're hot and they have 1 million subscribers. Like, you haven't proven to me that you take action. You take photos and you look cool. You haven't shown me that you take action. So I respect the taking of action first. And it's not so much my opinion that matters. I'm just some guy. But I really, 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 really want to make it clear that I have never thought I deserved success. Neither have you. I think we've both been at times a pair of losers who are like, but I don't care if I'm a loser. I'm just going to be the loser that gets success. And maybe I'll reach this point where I get these backstage passes and I get to go to these cool parties and have all these, I'm around all these successful people. I even still feel it. I felt it yesterday when we went to that restaurant, a little restaurant called Moo Moo, which has a statue of a giant bull out the front. It's a cool fucking restaurant.
It's a nice steakhouse.
I feel it when we go there sometimes. I will look around and be like, I don't deserve to be here. Like, I will literally feel like and it's not even that expensive. I think we spent like 250 Australian dollars, which is like 150 US dollars. So it's not even expensive, but like, okay, it's more expensive than we ever spend on food. But I look around and I feel like I don't deserve to be here. And then the next thing in my head is like, I'm going to fucking enjoy this then. like if I'm not meant to be here, I'm going to make the fucking most of it. And the same with success. I've always had that mindset. Like, I'm not meant to win. I'm not meant to have threesomes. I'm not meant to have an audience. You guys aren't supposed to listen to me. You're not supposed to give a fuck about what I have to say. I'm just some bold fucking retard. But you are listening to me. And I am making $50,000 a month, or at least we did last month. And I do have like 25 or something people, I think it's like 25 people in the coaching program at this point in time that all fucking hang off my every word. I'm going to make the most of that. Like, holy fucking shit. I'm going to be grateful for that. And that's ultimately where we're going to get to in this podcast. It's gratitude, but it's taking action. Mm-hmm. It's not worrying about the bigger things that the bigger questions you can't even answer. Like, am I meant to be successful or am I meant to be a loser? Is it all just luck? Like, is Andy just better than me? Like, he's just luckier than me. He just got some things that I don't have, and so therefore he's going to win and I'm not. Who gives a fuck? Take the action. Get in there even if you are a loser. If you're a short fucking virgin who's, what are all the things people complain about? Short, non-white, socially inept, autistic, unattractive, fat person living at home with your parents.
No money,
and you're 35 and you feel like life's gotten away from you. You have no friends. If you have all of that, it seems like all the deck is stacked against you. Wouldn't that be even fucking cooler if you made it? Or if you just started taking action? And I'm telling you, I want you in my fucking club, the self-improvement club, or my coaching program if you want that, or just our forums. But I think a lot of people will look at that list of things that they have, or the deck that they supposedly think is stacked against them, and they'll say, I don't deserve that. I'm sitting here telling you, I want you in my fucking club. If you're not willing to take action, like, no, thank you. I don't want any part of you. I don't have any friends in my life. I don't even really, like, I'll be nice to people. I'll talk to them. But like, no one is in my life that doesn't take action. Like, fuck no. This is just like a hard no for me. But if you do take action, I want you in my club. I want you in this audience. I want you to be self-improvement. I want you to fucking win. I want you to be sitting right there at the fucking winner's table with me. And I had this big discussion with one of my coaching clients who went through exactly this. He's like, who the fuck? He posted in the coaching program one day, had a big breakdown. The Russian guy. Starts with D. Whatever, we talked about it in the podcast. Dimitri. We talked about it in the podcast. He came on my channel and talked about this, so I don't think I'm giving away his name. But he posted in the group at one point. He had this big breakdown, and he was like, who the fuck am I? I'm just this stupid little boy who thinks he can sit at the table amongst men who are winners. Like, who the fuck am I? I don't deserve to be here. I'm a piece of shit. I'm not good enough. You know, why the fuck did I ever think that I could have a great sex life and make money and change the world and improve people's lives and all of this? Like, who the fuck am I? And I wrote him this big long post back, and one of the things I said was like, bro, like, we want you at the table. Like, if this is the winner's table, we want you here. And I was like, bro, I don't give a fuck if you deserve to be at this table or not. I say who gets to sit at this table. Like, you're saying this is my table. Like, it's my coaching program. I want you at this table. bro, you're my plus one. Sit at this fucking table with me. And I'll extend that offer to any of you listening that take action. You join my coaching program or just fucking take some action. I want you at the winner's table. I literally want you at the table next to me. If you're taking action, I don't give a shit where you are in life as long as you take action. I want you at the fucking table next to me. You can be my plus fucking one.